Hello everyone, it is Susan here and welcome to my channel, Suehiles Art. And today is my Monday crafty chit chat and slow stitching video, and we're going to work on this wall hanging. I was going to do some sewing myself and then I messed something up really badly, and I'll show you what that is. And then I'm like, well, let me just turn on the camera and we can stitch together. But yeah, so let me show you what I did. So remember last week when we were looking at the fabrics to finish off the, the wall hanging, the background of this, I had selected this piece right here, which I thought was perfect. And yeah, and remember I said, oh, well, I'm going to cut it off camera so that I can measure it and do it right. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. Okay, so what I did was I had my I measured it widthwise, and I knew exactly how much I needed to cut. And then I'm like, well, because I'm a lazy crafter, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna wing it. I'm just gonna do it, right? So I decided to, I took it, and you guys let me know when the light bulb goes off for you on what I did wrong. So I had the cut here because I knew I had to cut, about 1.5 to 2 inches off, right? So I had a little cut right here, and I was just going to fold it to cut it easily. So somehow, I don't know how, but I managed to fold it the wrong way. And I folded it like this. And now I started cutting. As soon as I started cutting, well, like maybe this far into it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm cutting 2 sides at once. I'm like, this is going to end up too small. And so I finished cutting it, and sure enough, I cut all this off, and sure enough, oh my gosh, now it's not wide enough. You can see it is not wide enough. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, and then I'm like, well, this is a really great beginning of a wall hanging for another project. So I'm going to move that to the side. I couldn't believe that I did that because I'm lazy, and because I wanted to just get it done quickly. And yeah, so I messed it totally up. So knowing that, I went back to my stash and I pulled out my, the fabric that I had last Monday, and I pulled out one of those pieces of fabric, and this is a muslin piece, and you know what? It's gonna be perfect. This is the rest of that piece right here. So it was so easy because like this pattern fabric, is not terrible. So once I, knew I had to use this fabric, I just cut a little, just a little bit on the side, and then it tore in like 1/2 second, all the way down, done. I'm good to go. So yeah, I don't know. I was like, well, you hear me. I'm kind of like laughing, but in disbelief that I did such a thing. But you know what? That's the way it goes. What are you gonna do, right? So anyway, I mean, thank goodness I had other options. And like I said, now I have a really great piece of fabric for my next wall hanging. So, and I don't know when that's going to be, because what we're going to work on next if you all remember, let me grab it real quick, it's right here, was we are going to work on this journal. So remember Carol from Recrafted by Carol and we did a one-day open collaboration geared around hearts. And so I have the fabrics. This is going to be my cover. And this is going to go on the front. This is the heart that I did for that collaboration. And then for the pages, I have all these fabrics pulled out. So I know what we're going to work on next. And I had mentioned that a few weeks ago. But, yeah, so we're in a good place with that. And for now, what we're going to do is sew this together. So I have the pearl in size 8, pearl thread. And I don't know, just looking at the colors, I think this one's a little bit too dark. This one is pretty much perfect. So I'm going to go with this thread right here. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew these pieces together. Now, mind you, right now this piece that we're sewing on is too long, but I'm going to go ahead and let's get this sewn down, and then I can measure, like I can pin the blocks on at that point. I still have that last block to finish. We haven't finished that yet, but I'm feeling like I want to get, you know, all of this stuff done first, and then we can just work on the last block and get that sewn on, and I'll get it hung on my wall. And I showed you last week in last Monday's video where it was going to hang up here in my room and in my craft room. I'm just trying to figure which way is best for me to do this. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a stitch right across here. Nothing fancy. Well, you know what? Maybe I should put, because remember this right here, I knew wasn't like totally straight. But you know what? It doesn't matter, and I'll tell you why, and I keep forgetting this. But when I put the other blocks on here, they're going to butt up up to one another, if I can speak. And so I'm not even going to really see that seam. And I think I have this backwards, but this is kind of how it's going to go. So you're not even going to really like see the seam at all. So I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to sew it. Just do it, right? Just do it. Just do it. That is definitely something that I live by, or I try to anyway. All right, so for some reason I feel out of breath today. I don't know why. And I'm feeling like I have too much fabric here, and it's a little hard to maneuver it all. So let me fold some of it up, and I'll probably have to give all of this an iron at some point. But I do want to be able to hold it. And I'm just going to do the straight stitch across. And, oh, I have to remember that it's shorter on that side. So you know what? Let me start up just a little bit. So I'm going to pull this out. And because, let me put this back this way for a second. Because this side has more to it than this side. I should probably start on this side, right? So that I sew up high enough. You know what? I think I'm going to try to do that. Let me put another pin in here. You guys know I hate pins. What are you going to do though, right? I mean, it is sewing. It is some unnecessary part to sewing, right? I mean, you got to have pins and needles, right? Okay, so I think what I'll try to do, but I'm going to have to turn this upside down because I do want to, I guess I tend to start from the right and go to the left. So, And I assume that's because I am a righty. So that is probably why. All right, so let me just make sure I'm in screen good enough for everybody. And I have to say, so I just wanted to mention that yesterday, I want to do this in a way where you can see. Let me get it going and then I'll adjust myself here so that you guys can see well. Let me make sure I go up high enough. And let's just get started here. All right, I think I can do it like this to where you will all see it better. Yep, like this. Okay, so I'm recording this on Sunday, like most times I do. Sometimes I record this video on Saturdays, but for the most part, I do these videos on Sunday so that I can post them at midnight tonight for Monday morning. Yeah, I'm having a hard time because of the pins on the blocks to hold this. All right, there, that's better. So yesterday, being Saturday, I spent an amazing 2 hours with my two amazing crafty friends, Helen, who is Moss Cottage, and Fran Lynch. She does not put videos out, although she should. Wink, wink, Fran. Because she's very talented. And she's does beautiful mixed media work. Really, really, really beautiful stuff. And anyway, so we spent 2 hours yesterday on Zoom talking. Well, we talked probably at least the first half hour, at least, if not longer. And it was wonderful. And, then we, as we're talking, then we started, working on our mixed media projects. We decided, since we all like to do mixed media, that we would do mixed media. So, yeah, so we each kind of did our own thing. I did put, a couple prompts out there. One was to use your favorite color somewhere on your page, and then to use circles. So that is what we did. And, the 2 hours absolutely, positively flew by. Now that is looking really crooked. So what I'm thinking here, and I'll get back to my story about the Zoom session, but see, so I know that it's crooked. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, I have to slant down, but that's the wrong way to think. So I'm going to take this out again. And pull these out. And by the way, and I forget who told me this trick, but I've done it ever since. Somebody commented on my video, and it was like the best piece of information is when you pull thread out, use the part of your needle that's the eye of your needle, and it just somehow makes it work like really easy. And I love it. And I've been doing it ever since she mentioned it. And I'm sorry that I don't remember exactly who it was. It was a while ago. But just know, if you're watching now, that I have done it ever since you suggested it. So, because it does work. Somehow it makes it easier. I'm not sure why, but it does. So what I have to do, I'm like very squirrely today. I'm like all over the place. I don't know why. I guess because I just had a huge double cup of tea and then I had a cup of coffee. So maybe that's why. I don't know. I'm like wired. But what I should be doing is I shouldn't be focusing on how this is really you know, different, it's not straight across here. What I should be more concerned with is, since I started just under this block right here, I should want to stay just under the block. And not because I don't want to see these stitches. It's more just that, just to keep it straight. I was thinking the wrong way. And yeah, so yeah, see, still not right. And I think, now I'm going to give you another excuse. Here we go. I think it's because of how I'm the angle that I'm at. So let me, I don't know why it feels, I think that the reason, I don't know, it just, there's a lot of fabric right here, you know, now on this wall hanging, and it's just a little difficult. So if anybody, because I know that there's people watching that are way better at this than I am, like, how do you do it when there's like just so much fabric and it's hard to control it, if that's the right word. Because, you know, when you're sewing like this, you want it not to be bunched up. So you want to try to make sure you're keeping it all nice and flat, which is a big part of what I'm trying to do here. So like I can feel the underneath fabric, and I'm trying to make sure that that stays nice and flat as well, you know, at the same time that I'm doing this. All right, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to stop for a second and let's take a look. All right, so it's going well now. It's going well. What is this pin for? This pin goes over here. So let me just show you real quick. I mean, I know that this is a sewing video, but it's a chit chat video as well, right? Crafty chit chat. Just saying. But this was I didn't finish it during the 2 hours, but this is in the Big Dilutions journal. And so I did a 2-page collage spread, and I used wallpaper and jelly printed papers and rice paper, a little bit of paint. I used a pen to outline. I did some circles with just a top of a whatever, hairspray or whatever, with black paint. And yeah, so that's it. So I like the way that it came out. It was fun to work on with the ladies, but I couldn't get it done because our time ran out. And yeah, it was a lot of fun for sure. And yeah, so I just wanted to share that because it's not too often that I do mixed media like that anymore. Back in the day, I used to call myself a mixed media artist and a collage artist. And yeah, but anyway, so that was a ton of fun. And what else? Oh, so what I realized this past week was that I, for some reason, really am awful at making pancakes. Can I just say that? I'm awful, and I'll tell you why. So, you know, a while ago, I don't know how long ago, not that long ago, months ago, but, you know, not years, I had bought a box of Bisquick for the reason of either making the biscuits or pancakes, because I grew up with Bisquick in my house. That's what we used for pancakes and for biscuits. And so how about you guys? Did you guys grow up with Bisquick in your house too? And if you don't know what it is, all it really is it's almost like a flour, but flour that you bake with. So it's a powdered product, but it has different things, more stuff in it, but not crazy. It's not like really bad stuff. And you add egg and milk or water, I forget which. But anyway, so you add something liquidy, and then you have your base for either your biscuits, which I have to tell you that Bisquick biscuits are amazing. They're really good. Really good. But again, I grew up with them, so you might think they're like super dry or something. I don't know. But yeah. So I found a box in my kitchen cabinet. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had this and blah, blah, blah. So I decided that I'm going to make bacon, scrambled eggs, and pancakes from Bisquick. So I knew I was going to put the bacon in the oven because that's how I make bacon now, which is very different than I've done my whole life. I actually just started making bacon that way, and I really enjoy doing that now, so I'm sure I will probably always do it that way now. Oh, see how good that came out? That came out perfectly. Good. And scrambled eggs, they're easy. So, in my head, I'm like, because I have to make a plan because it's all about the plans. From being a project manager, which I've, told you guys. And so I put the bacon in the oven, which takes about 25 minutes. And I'm sewing the block on now is what I'm doing. So I'm going to try not to go all the way through to where you can see it. I actually should have started at this end and gone right across. But so what I'm doing is I can feel with my fingers, right? Because I have my fingers here. I can feel if I'm going through. And if I do a little bit, that's fine. I just don't want it to be super obvious. But yeah, I'm just sewing that down. And now I have to remember too that this is also not straight, this piece right here. So I'm kind of looking here, making sure I'm grabbing. Let me kind of move down here. So anyway, so I put the bacon in, and it takes about 25 minutes. And so when it got down to like about 10 minutes, I heated up my cast iron pan, and I used my bigger pan, and I did the pancakes while the bacon was in the oven. Now, to me, this might not sound like a big deal to you, but I'm not a cook, so getting everything to be done at the same time is not my strong point. Not at all. In fact, it really stresses me out. It does not at all come naturally to me. So, in my head, and here it is. It's just like we were having it for dinner, but to me, this was like a big to-do. Like 3 different things. I was cooking at 3 different times. What, are you kidding me? That's why I like the crock pot, as well as cooking in a cast iron pan, because, making a whole dish in one pan or crock pot, I'm all about that. So, yeah, so I did it. So when the pancakes were done, because now, of course, I don't want to have too many dishes to wash either, right? I mean, I have a dishwasher, but still, I don't know, that's ingrained in my head, is not to have too many. Let me make sure yeah, not to have too many pans to mess with afterwards. So, um, yeah, so when the pancakes were done, I took them out, I covered them up on a plate, and then I did the scrambled eggs, which they were ready to roll, right? I had them all in a bowl and all mixed up. I put a little bit of milk in with them, and at some point I salt and peppered them. I don't remember if I did it in the bowl or when they were in the pan. I don't remember. But yeah, so those cooked up really quick because the cast iron pan was really nice and hot from cooking the pancakes. And oh my gosh, it just all came together. Even the bacon. The bacon was done a few minutes earlier than everything else. But, well, earlier than the eggs. But it was, I put those in on a plate, and I covered those as well. And, and, oops, I'm just making sure I'm doing good here. Yep, it's looking good. Looking good. I'm just going to keep going. So, yeah, so it worked out, and it happened to be a meal that I enjoy and my son enjoys, which I don't always cook for him. He does his thing. But like when I make pork chops, I know he's going to eat them. So there's certain things I know he really likes. And then I'll just make sure, that I have enough for him. And for my granddaughter. So it was one of those things like pizza. We all like pizza. So there's not a lot of different meals that we all like. And all right, so let me just make sure. So if I go here, I'm trying not to go too much. Oops, I got a lot of threads. Oh no, I just pulled out. I got a lot of threads going on here. I have to rethread my needle. All right, let me see. I have to make sure that I get through the block on the front, but not, all the way through, or as little as possible. So let me make sure I'm grabbing. I feel like I'm not grabbing the bottom of this block. So I'm going to go up just a little bit to make sure that I'm getting it. Oops, what just happened? Uh-oh. Every time, every video, right? You guys can tell me. You can say, Susan, what are you doing? I think every single video there's definitely an oops every single video. For sure. So anyway, so that was my really good experience that I actually accomplished. Getting those 3 things done, cooked at almost, within a couple minutes, almost the same time. And so that was good. But the pancakes, I have to tell you, I stink at turning pancakes over. They taste fine, but like I can't turn a pancake. I can't. It's like yeah. So like what was happening, I think I have to go up a little higher again. It is grabbing this block. I can feel it, but I can feel it's starting to get a little low. So I'm going to kind of go up just a little bit here again. So it's okay to adjust to make sure you're grabbing what you need to so that it's sewn together. So, like, what happens when I'm doing, am I making everybody hungry? Is everybody going to go make pancakes and bacon and eggs after this video? You can tell me. Yeah, so like what I was doing when I was doing the pancakes, when I would turn them, oh man, I keep pulling the thread out of this needle. Is like I would turn them and like they would go on top of the other one. And then so because of doing that, then the other one has raw pancake batter on the top of it. So then you have to turn that one over again, like so that it would cook the raw pancake batter that was sitting on top of it, on top of the already cooked side. So yeah, so that's my dilemma. So if anybody has a really fabulous way of turning pancakes, let me know. I had made like bigger pancakes, smaller pancakes, put them further apart from one another, and nothing helped. No matter what I did, it just, yeah. So anyway, so that's my dilemma. Okay, so I can see a little bit of stitches there, but I'm good with that. So now I guess I'm going to come up this side right here. So it's a little hard doing it this way because I can't see the block, and I think I went too far. I went too far with these stitches. I'm going to pull out. Oh, actually I could have left that in. So that's the scoop on my amazing breakfast skills. And yeah, so, and I'm sure a half an hour is probably up already, and you guys know I like to keep these videos at about 30 minutes or so. And yeah, so if you have tips on pancakes, let me know. Right? And like such an easy thing to make, yet I have problems with it. So all right, I want to at least just start sewing up the side here on this video, and then like, am I too far off? So where's the stitch? You know what, I am. So I need to, I'm not going to take the needle out. I'm just going to adjust. I'm going to, oh, I took it out again. What's with that? All right, but that's it, at least in the right spot. Let me try to get a couple more stitches out of this thread that I have on here, and then we're going to wrap up the video. So I am still working on my Roxy Journal of Stitchery, and it is time for critters, and yeah, so I'm still trying to figure that out, and hopefully I'll have a video for Wednesday on that. Oh, and I am, as far as work, you guys know I'm retired as of last May, and I've been consulting like only like 2 or 3 hours a week, but there's a big project going on at work and they want me to work more hours. And yeah, so now I'm working like 20 hours a week, but not for too long. And well, maybe a few months, I don't know. And so anyway, so I am putting in a good amount of hours at work, which, yep. So all right, so this is good. So this is all sewn down, and I can see some stitches here. I'm not going to worry about it. But not all the way across. There's like 3 stitches right here I can see. And this is all sewn. The top is sewn. So I have to finish this side, and then I'll make sure this is in the exact right spot. And you know, I kind of want that over a little bit, I think. So let's see if I can stretch that just a little bit over to the right. So like right here, I just want to make sure that this corner is over this way far enough. And then, like I said, I'll just probably take, I don't know. I'll probably take these pins out and just make sure that that it's okay, because it looks a little off to me right now. But that's it. So that's where we're at with this. So now I have a nice long back piece for the whole wall hanging. We've sewn it together. I have almost this whole block sewn on, and yep, and then we'll go from there. Now, is it crooked? You guys know I do everything crooked. Oh my gosh, it's like I don't know what it is. But I do. I do everything crooked. But that is it for today. And I will see you hopefully on Wednesday. And then, of course, next Monday for my next Crafty Chit Chat and Slow Stitching video. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. And have a wonderfully blessed week. Bye-bye.